just share with some who may be going through grief. Grief is a journey, and as I am learning to navigate through my journey as it pertains to my life, first and foremost, we can't navigate through grief without God. I've had some loss of close loved ones that were near and dear to my heart. Number one being my mother. My mother was someone who was always there. She was one who I could always turn to. She was one who, even when people came against me, counted me out, she was always there with such powerful words, with such comforting words. She was someone that I could trust, someone that I could lean on. And in 2021, I lost her. I learned to navigate. Well, I learned to accept the loss of her. And as I was learning to accept, as I was becoming more comfortable with the acceptance of losing her, 3 years later, I lost my baby brother. And although my mother was sick, it still was hard to accept. And then my brother was not sick physically, health-wise. It just happened suddenly, unexpectedly. But I learned to accept it. Where I found comfort was knowing that both of them were no longer suffering in their own entity. They were no longer sick in their own entity. They were no longer hurting and struggling through the different things that they had to struggle with. So that's where I found my peace. Knowing that they are resting, knowing that they don't have to worry about all this stuff that's going on in this world. They don't have to try to figure things out and just struggle with day to day. That's where I was able to be comforted and to be okay with them not being here. So as I became comfortable in that place, and I searched the word, and I leaned on God and not my own understanding, I was okay. And then I searched the word, and it tells me that I'm healed, that I'm whole. I believe in his word. I believe what he tells me. I believe that he has my loved ones. I believe that he forgave them for all of their sins, and they're resting, and that they will be in heaven, and that I will see them again when it's my time to be in heaven, and we will reunite. But then I came to a place that kind of disrupted that, because I was pushing forward, and I just kept going, and I was like, okay, just miss them, and then I'll just be there for a moment, and then some days it lingers, and then I get different thoughts on what could have been, what should have been, how could I have played a better role in their life, what are some of the things that I could have done to help them or to do something differently. And those days are tough for me, because everything reverts always back to the core of my mother. If I'm thinking about my brother, I want to talk to my mom. If I'm struggling with different areas of my life, I want to talk to my mom. And I'm a firm believer. So I do know that I take those things to God. But then he revealed to me that you have gotten to a place where you are okay with them being gone because they're from their perspective and the things that you worried about for them. But you have not allowed me to touch the areas in you, the hurt in you, on how you missed them, on how it affected you, on how you feel alone, on how you feel that as time goes on, it doesn't get easier for you because you still miss them. And when I feel this way, I always try to run away from it, because I feel as if I allow myself to be there, then I'm not trusting God. I'm not in my faith. I have turned my back on him. But God is he's so loving. And if you just allow him in to take you to a deeper part of what he's trying to reveal to you and how he's trying to teach you in this season that I'm in, I've been here before, but I've always shined away from it and just tried to inspire myself and try to motivate myself and try to get myself out of that thought process. But I am coming into the understanding that there is a difference between thoughts and emotions. And every time we may feel a certain way, we're so quick to say that's the enemy or that's my inner me. But we never acknowledge our emotions. When God made us, he made us to have emotions. Yes, it's very valid that emotions are temporary, but what do you do when that temporary emotion arises? How do you navigate through it? How do you deal with it? Do you run away from it until you don't feel it anymore? Or do you face it head on? Do you allow it to pass through? Because if you run away from it, then you don't learn how to navigate through it. And of course, emotions come and go, and that emotion is going to come back. So I've came to a place to not run from it, because it doesn't make me weaker. It doesn't make me a non-believer. It doesn't make me less than in the kingdom because I have an emotion of missing my loved ones. If we run away from our emotions, we don't allow God to do his work. Because in his word, it tells us that in our weakness is when his strength is made perfect. So if we run away from our weakness, we don't allow him to do his great work. If we run away from our feelings, then we will miss the promise, and we won't allow ourselves to receive his promise to us and his blessing to us. In grief and when we're hurt, the word tells us that he is close to those who are crushed in spirit and brokenhearted. So if we're crushed and if our heart is broken and we try to run away from that, and we're running away from God, allowing him to be close to us during that time. There was multiple times in the Bible where people asked God to take things away that was plaguing them, that was overwhelming them, that was hurting them. to, for instance, was Paul. He had a thorn. And he begged God to remove it. And God didn't remove it. But he wanted him to depend on him more, to lean on him more, to allow him to be in that place with him. So that he wouldn't forget him, or that he wouldn't think that he had the control. A lot of us try to control our feelings, our emotions. But God wants to help us with our emotions. Another instance in the Bible was Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. He literally was so overtaken by, in his human form, by hurt, agony, pain. And he went into the Garden of Gethsemane when they were going to arrest him and take him to the cross. He asked God, please take this cup from me. But in the same sense, he said, nevertheless, not my will, but your will be done. He didn't take that cup. With Paul, he said, my grace is sufficient. So as you're navigating through the loss of your loved ones, or if it may be the loss of a job, the loss of finances, the loss of whatever it may be in your life, don't run away from it. Don't act as if it's not real, because your emotions are real. But allow him to help you with your emotions, because he loves you that much.